store to Greg and Jason.
It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship, our 10th anniversary season. It's MotoAmerica Superbikes at Texas, our 8th of 9 for 2024. From Circuit of the Americas in Austin, it's time for Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2. Hello everyone, welcome to the broadcast and welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, staying alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. So Jason, it's come down to this, an unbelievable race yesterday. The championship is close, things are crazy. It's Mission King of the Baggers. What else do you expect?
Well, I think that what we talked about yesterday was who could be the spoilers. Rocco Landers yesterday was that guy. He took 5 points away from Trey Herfoss in a heated battle at the front. When you go back and you look at the highlights, you see Hayden Gillum didn't get the best start there on the number 1. Now watch this cutback move by the 97. He's able to sneak right up into second place. That would turn into first place by the time they got into the S's. This was the place where Rocco was doing his damage, in those S's yesterday. You see Tyler O'Hara running second early. On the last lap, Herfoss got to the back wheel of Rocco, took a shot at him before those S's, and you can see Rocco closes the door here in turn 2. By the end of the lap, Herfoss had already decided to get into championship mode, took second, but how about this? Tyler O'Hara just beats Kyle Wyman to get across the line. So O'Hara plays spoiler, but this kid here, Greg, he's on a roll.
53rd overall all-time AMA win. He's 19 years old, pretty crazy. But this is his season in this class. In the first 8 races as a rookie in Mission King of the Baggers, only 50 points. Now in the last 7 races, he has poured it on, gets his first win, and yeah, Rocco's the first rider to win a race in 4 different MotoAmerica classes. Wow, pretty incredible. Jason, let's take a look at Circuit of the Americas for people that haven't been here.
Yeah, turn 1 here, very tricky, especially off the start. Then you go through that series of S's where Rocco was so quick yesterday. From about turn 12 to turn 17, 18, that's where Troy was extremely quick. That's sector 3. After you get through turn 18 and 19, you got one last stab at somebody in turn 20. And then you got a short run to the finish line. So very interesting and complex track is this one here in Austin, Texas.
It's pretty special. Well, this championship rages on, and the 33 at Kyle Wyman has got to get a great result today if he wants to continue this on to New Jersey. We start the race after this.
We're back with you here from Circuit of the Americas for the Mission King of the Baggers, their second race of the weekend. We saw the riders out on their sighting lap, and Bobby Fong on pit lane, Roger.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. Doesn't look like he even left the pit, so that's unfortunate for Bobby. You know, just kind of something we've seen a little bit this year.
See him taking his helmet off, so it does not look like he will be taking part in the race here this afternoon, which is unfortunate for him. He was able to qualify 7th for the action here this weekend. And there you see the number 88. That is Max Splenders. A very different bike than what we're used to seeing him on, normally on the yellow Indian. This is a Harley Davidson, a great story. A photographer, a friend of his, able to help him out here this weekend. Cody Melton, he actually raced this bike at Daytona back in 2003. He lives nearby in San Antonio. He had this Harley on hand, and when Max had a huge crash yesterday and split his bike in half, wasn't going to be able to race here this weekend. He missed the race yesterday, and Cody came out and he said, listen, I've got my bike nearby. I can bring it out and let you ride it.
And Max didn't even go out in the warm-up this morning, so this is going to be his first laps.
We'll see what he can do with it. We're going to send it back over to Greg and Jason.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. And by Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles.
That was cool. That's an Insta360 camera right there on a mechanic, and we get to see the views of them changing a rear tire. Pretty cool. Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2, starting grid. Let's take a look who's on pole, who is fast. And it's Troy Herfoss, a 13-7, then Tyler O'Hara and Rocco Landers.
And then we have Hayden Gillum, Kyle Wyman, and James Rispoli. And there are more than 6 people, I think. Greg, we got Bobby Fong, Jake Lewis, Travis Wyman, Corey West, and Max Flinders on, I think, a borrowed Harley.
Yeah.
As he crashes Indian earlier in the weekend, so he's on a borrowed bike there at the back of the grid.
Yeah, that's the M3 Lindahl Brakes Cowboy HD Moose entry for the 88. But here we go. 6 laps scheduled for this race. Lights are on, revs are up. Here we go. Ooh, a little bit of a delayed start from Rocco.
Yeah, a little bit of a delayed start, and they held him for a while again. And it's going to be the 2 factory Indians, though, and Herfoss leading the way. So that's exactly what Indians looking for right now, is for the 17 to be out front early. His teammate right behind him. Looks like Kyle Wyman has slotted himself, I believe it's Kyle anyways, into third. Yep, Kyle, and then James Rispoli fourth. So this is the battle, right? You got 2 factory Indians, 2 factory Harleys, and then 2 Vance and Hines Harley-Davidsons with yesterday's winner and last year's champion in 5th and 6th.
That margin, 7 points in this championship. Kyle leading to 33, the championship, but third on the racetrack. And this isn't going to work for him. He's got to make some moves early if he wants to stay with the 17. Jason, who has been absolutely ripping this weekend, has Herfoss.
Yeah, well, you saw he was a full second quicker, I believe, in qualifying. And then in this morning's warm-up, he was capable of running another minute 13, 2:13.7 around here again this morning. So for him right now, he's just trying to go out and put these hard laps in at the start. He knows he's got pace. And then see what the factory Harleys can bring, if anything. We saw O'Hara yesterday do a fantastic job of defending for his teammate and finishing third and beating Kyle Wyman to the line. Today, Wyman's looking down the inside, not quite able to make a pass. As you can see, O'Hara's got still a pretty good gap on that of Kyle Wyman. So, wow, what happened there? It looked like Tyler didn't quite get out of there the way he wanted to, and Kyle closed up a lot before they went into this right-hander.
Yeah, but all the while, good blocking move. O'Hara, a little bit loose under acceleration on the SNS Indian Motorcycles Challenger. And look at Kyle, a nice tight line from the 33 of Wyman on that Harley-Davidson factory bike, but gives it right back.
Yeah, O'Hara, and
another tight line. Oh,
Rispoli gets, something happened to James there. That was weird. And you can see here now, so this is exactly what Indian wants right now. They want to have Tyler O'Hara, just if he can, hold a little bit of block over Kyle Wyman. Kyle going for it in the last corner, and he's going to make that pass stick as they exit that turn. Now he's going to have to defend hard up into turn number 1, as O'Hara will be in the draft of the factory Harley-Davidson all the way to the top of the hill. Let's see if Kyle can try to do a little bit of defending. O'Hara's trying to make this pass.
Whoa, the apex is open, but Kyle's got a kind of a swoopy line around that corner, and Kyle Wyman, the 33, will hold on to it.
But how much damage has been done? 1.5 seconds at the front is Troy Herfoss over that of Kyle Wyman right now. So when you look at it, this is where Kyle, who I know the factory Harley teams had made some pretty significant changes to both Kyle's bike and Rispoli's bike. Rispoli never came across the line, Greg. He actually pulled into the pits. So whatever happened to him, he is out. For Kyle Wyman now, he's got the guy he's got to beat in the championship, who took a pretty nice little chunk out of it yesterday. He's got to try to chase him down. Look at Kyle just broad sliding that Harley up through that right-hander. 37.7 to 37.8 in the first split. You can see Wyman has broke O'Hara. Now, Rocco Landers and Hayden Gillum just a little bit further back. Not really looking like they're making too much of an inroads on the guys that are directly in front of them. Indian smoking. Tyler O'Hara's smoking really bad as they go down the back straightaway, it looked like. See it smoking, Greg?
Yeah, it certainly does. So the 29 might have some issues. It could be a little bit, is Tyler trying to get that thing stopped, and look at that oil.
I don't want to see him going to the next right, Greg, and this is a problem. We need to get a flag out. You can see the guys behind right now are definitely backing off, and he's got to know right there. He's got to know. They're already red flagging the race. Rocco, look at Rocco. Rocco just backed all the way off as much as he could. The problem is how much of this oil is seeing the track. That is the problem. And for Tyler, he doesn't know it's him.
He doesn't know yet.
Yep. Oh, now he might know. So he's
sometimes it's hard to see though with that smoke shield.
But he doesn't. I just don't think he knows it's him, does he?
No, because he's still on the race line.
He's still on the line, and he's just rolling around, and he just doesn't know.
Yeah, you can see some type of fluid. speculated it was oil, so now the riders are telling him, yo, it's you, man.
Hayden's letting him know, and Tyler's looking at him like, what? Like, what's the problem? Yeah.
Oh, is it me? He's like, oh, no, yeah. He just pointed to himself and said, is it me? That's a tough one. Because obviously a guy like Tyler O'Hara does not want to be responsible for oil in the track if he's done that. And that's going to put us on a very long delay.
I was just going to say the same thing. This is going to be a long delay because of where that smoke appeared out of turn 10 all the way down that back straightaway and into the braking zones.
All right, we'll step away from Circuit of the Americas, Mission King of the Baggers race number 2, and be back with more info after this.
What an unfortunate turn of events here for the Mission King of the Baggers race. As you see Tyler O'Hara off of the bike now, but oil potentially all around this racetrack, Roger.
Yeah, and it's going to take a while to, from where there's smoke, if it had oil where we first seen that smoke, and you can see it right there dripping out, it's going to take a little while to get that cleaned up, and that's what's hard for these riders whenever you don't feel it, the oil, or you don't know you're smoking, you don't have mirrors, you can't see behind you. Tyler had no idea he was leaking that much oil, and if he did, he would have pulled right off the track.
All right, as the team looks to try and get all of that cleaned up there on pit lane, let's go ahead and send it down to Michael Hill.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Obviously, a red flag, not what we want to see, especially in such a short and tight race. Obviously, a bit of work now for the Indian team. Tyler O'Hara is going to be hoping that they can get that fixed and get back out there. Obviously, James Rispoli as well had some kind of issues early in that race, so fingers crossed he can get going. But Jamie, Roger, this championship, whatever happens now, is going to go all the way to the season finale. So it looks like we're going to have Mission King of the Baggers, we're going to have Supersport and Superbike, all to be decided in the season finale. What a way to end the season.
No, it's going to be great for the fans, absolutely. And Tyler O'Hara, if he can't get back out there, you talk about the championship, he was there to play buffer for his teammate Troy Herfoss. If he's not out there when we get back to racing, what does that mean for Troy?
Well, I think it just could help Kyle, just having that one less guy. But you never know. It looks like they're working really hard on that bike. And if it's a long cleanup, a lengthy cleanup, they might have time to fix whatever broke. But I think for anybody, Troy definitely wants Tyler there to try to take some points from Kyle.
You mentioned Kyle Wyman leading this championship. And for Kyle, he had a great start to that race. Going to have to do it all over again. Let's go back to Craig and Jason.
Back at Circuit of the Americas as the crew is out on the racetrack, trying to see if any of the fluid made it to the surface. I honestly don't know how it didn't, Jason, even though there is like a, you know,
a belly pan.
A belly pan.
It was coming out the side, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's coming out the side, so I'm sure that there's going to have to be a lot of inspection. We saw
the left turns might not be as bad, but the rights for sure, because you saw it was on the rear tire of Tyler's bike, right?
Yeah, and as he leaned over, you could kind of see that it was just, it took a moment or two to kind of drip on it. So we'll see what they end up doing for this one, but for Tyler O'Hara, he had no clue it was him. And then we did see a nice close-up shot of the fluid dripping on the ground, and to us, it looked red.
Yeah.
But let's go down to Hannah and find out what happened off the start with the 43, James Rispoli.
James Rispoli trying to keep cool with an ice vest on here, but obviously you pulled in while the race was still ongoing. Tell us what was going on. We saw the team trying to work on that rear tire.
Yeah, so I thought I might have had a flat tire because I went into the carousel in the first lap and I just lost the rear twice, like massively. And I mean, we weren't really going that hard on the first lap. So I thought I might have had a flat tire. So I came in and obviously when I look down, it looks flat, but the bagger's so heavy. So a little mistake from mine. They checked the PSI, all looks good, but then we saw O'Hara leaking some oil or leaking some fluid, and I think it's probably what that was. So
unfortunate, but hopefully it can get restarted here. How advantageous is this for you?
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, they didn't go around the next lap, so we should be able to restart this grid no problem. And yeah, I'm excited to get back in there. And I was feeling really good on the first lap. I got an amazing start, and yeah, I just want to put this thing on the podium.
Thanks, James. Guys.
That's a good point. It could have been.
It could have been, and I mean, yeah, I mean, at this point you're speculating and trying to figure out why. Let's see if Tyler's bike, if you see anything here, because Kyle's kind of in the wheel tracks, but look at James' bike right there. James's bike's moving, and then it snaps around pretty good on him here again, Greg, watch. So he's not in the line there. He's not anywhere near Tyler. He's actually, if anything, he's actually kind of out in the dirty part of the track.
Plus the other thing too is that Kyle it would have been, you know, spritzing on him if it was coming up as well.
Yeah.
And so Kyle would have been immediately, like, you know, pointing at Tyler and all that stuff because he knew what was coming.
Where I really noticed it was the back straightaway there, and that's where it started. I started to see a lot of smoke on that back straightaway.
All right, so we are here at Circuit of the Americas. It's Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2. After this, we still have 2 races and our final round of the season in about 2 weeks' time at New Jersey. But let's take a look at our standings with these 75 points available. It's a slim 7-point difference between Kyle Wyman and Troy Herfoss. And then Hayden Gillum is in 3rd place, and he is out of this championship, as is the rest of the field, because there's only 75 points on offer at this point. So really, I think one of the benefactors to this could be Kyle Wyman, could be the biggest benefactor, because if it indeed Tyler O'Hara can't restart the race or doesn't get a good of a start and Kyle gets a better start and is able to latch onto the back of Herfoss, then maybe he can mitigate the damage that Herfoss was doing at the beginning, because he is ripping.
Well, the first 2 splits of that second lap, unfortunately we didn't get to see the full lap, right? But the first 2 splits, Kyle definitely found something, and I know that this weekend, like I said, those guys have been working pretty hard. Troy has definitely been the class of the field so far the weekend with the lap times he's been able to run. I mean, a 13.7 this morning. He did 13.7 in qualifying as well. So you can see them going to work pretty hard right now on Tyler O'Hara's bike.
All right, Jay, let's take this moment and really talk about the splits. Now, when we look at Circuit of the Americas, tell us in terms of where does split 1 start and where does split 1 end and split 2 and so on?
When they come through on the start-finish line here to your right there, Greg, on the start-finish line, they're going to go all the way to split 1, which is between turns 6 and 7. So it's right between the right and the left in that spot. And then the short split that we have is from there to just out of turn 11, getting onto the back straightaway. Then obviously our speed traps back there. But that split 3 is from the exit of 11 all the way to the exit of turn 16. So it's a pretty long split. That second one's pretty long. And then obviously from the last, from just out of turn 16 to the start-finish line, that is actually the shortest split that we have there towards the end. So what Greg and I can look at, we have 4 different splits that we can look at. We can see what riders are doing good and what riders need to improve certain spots on the track.
All right, let's get down to Hannah, who continues to get after it here in the heat.
Guys, as you saw, the team is hard at work trying to diagnose what happened with O'Hara's bike. Tyler, it seemed like you didn't really realize that there was a problem at first. Tell us what you were experiencing, what you're feeling underneath you.
Yeah, the track temp's as hot as it's been all weekend, and it's slick everywhere. And I actually didn't know. I had a moment going through 14, 15, and then I thought I thought it was just that slick, but I guess the little fluid got on the tire there, not on the track. But when I came in the pits, Hayden was pointing at me and saying that I had a little something dripping or something, but I'm not sure. But the team got it covered and got it all fixed up, and yeah, get ready to get back out there.
All right, thanks, Tyler. Best of luck. And guys, some different cool-down measures out here. You see he's got a bag of ice.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you know, it starts at the top and then it flows downhill, I suppose.
Yeah,
trying to keep that blood cool. So we were talking about those sector splits, Jason, and obviously we have 4 here, plus we have the speed. And so why, as a racer or as a crew chief, do you want to know these sector splits?
Well, I mean, the big thing is it tells you a story. You know, you look at the sector times and it kind of lets you know where you're struggling, and from that point, then you can start to pick the turns or the corners when you get with your crew chiefs, and you can try to figure out, okay, you know what? I see in this split, I'm losing some time. This corner in that split, I feel like I'm giving up too much, or I'm not as comfortable on the bike as I'd like to be, or the bike's not doing what I need it to do. As you see both the factory Indian riders there in front of a big cooler trying to get themselves cooled off. But that's what the split times could do, and it can really help you piece the track together. And now we're in this, you know, such a stage where as much data as you can get, usually it can help you. And the crew chiefs and the data guys are so sharp with it. They'll be able to look at what the bike is actually doing in the sectors as well. So they'll be able to look at the time that you get from the sector times that MotoAmerica provides, and then they're going to be able to look at the bike data and tell you where they feel like you're losing that time.
Well, we know that the 2025 MotoAmerica schedule is out, JP, and there are some slight changes, obviously some dates. Let's take a long look at it. So we're going to start our season off at Barber Motorsports Park, April 4th through the 6th. Then we're going to go to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, May 2nd through the 3rd, and then Road America, and then Ridge Motorsports Park. Then we go to WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, Virginia International Raceway, to Mid-Ohio, Circuit of the Americas, and then finish off at New Jersey Motorsports Park again. Now, the big deal is that no Brainerd, Minnesota, and to VIR, we go August 1 through 3.
I'm looking forward to getting back to Virginia, and let me tell you, it's hot here in Texas, but in August in Virginia,
It's got to be fun, bud.
ooh, I've been there in those
gotta
times.
be
I know
fun.
they're a little steamy too. So, but I'm just happy we're going back there. I think VIR is a favorite of so many of the riders. Everybody, really enjoy going to that place. So I'm happy to see MotoAmerica going back.
And Hannah's with a 19-year-old hot dog, Rocco Landers.
Rocco, after that start, is there anything, just sitting here evaluating kind of how the start of that race was, is there anything you'd like to do differently or better?
I just need to get a better start, to be honest with you. Didn't have the best initial launch, and then didn't quite enter turn 1 quite like I probably should, and put me back a couple spots. But who knows? Just try to get a good start, get ourselves through turn 1, and make it as many places as possible.
5 laps to go. What task is that in these conditions right now, especially considering this is your second race of the day?
Yeah, it's definitely hot. The track temperature's up quite a lot as well. We've already done a lap, so it should feel probably about how we feel after a normal race.
Thanks, Rocco, guys.
All right, thanks. And yeah, you get a little bit of analysis, and we're hearing that Tyler O'Hara is looks like on our timing and scoring screen that he's still on there. But Jay, there is a question that's going to happen with the 29 Tyler O'Hara, because the rule to restart the race is, or to start the race, I guess you could say, because it's a complete start. It's like a race on its own, is that you have to actively be participating in the race in order to start when that red flag comes out. So we're not sure exactly what's going to happen in terms of, is the determination going to be that his crew working on the bike and, checking the tire and stuff, kind of,
Is it an infraction?
Is it an infraction, like, because he oiled the track or whatever? And the other thing too is going to be Rispoli. Sorry, Rispoli was the one that they were checking the tire and everything else. So we're going to find out too what's going to happen and who's going to be able to restart. So we are seeing that. Well, it says bike number 28 may not restart. I wonder if they're referring to bike number 29.
Yeah.
Because I think the only other 8 in the field is going to be Max Flinders 88, and I'm sure that he's fine. All right, we'll get that all sorted out for you when we get back here to Circuit of the Americas in anticipation of the start of a 5-lap affair.
Thanks for staying with us on MotoAmerica Live Plus. You can see the sweat pouring off me, and I'm just standing here with a microphone. I cannot put into words just how hot it is down here in the pit lane. It must be close to 100 degrees. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching in Europe having a little chuckle at how much I am suffering. We just heard from Rocco Landers. There's his teammate Hayden Gillam, of course, didn't take part in the Superbike races. Can we grab a quick word real quick? Yeah, sure, he says. I've only got about 45 seconds left, but how is the wrist holding up? Obviously, insanely hot conditions. You up for this one?
Yeah, it's all right. It's sore, definitely sore. I haven't got to do much with it the last couple weeks, but it's, to be expected, and I'm just doing the best I can for these boys and trying to have some fun. And yeah, we're didn't get the best of starts on that one for either of us, so we're going to try something a little different and see what we can do on this restart. Hopefully have no issues, get through the race, and just have a good one.
Excellent. Well, I was going to ask you to show us the wrist, but ladies and gents, I can't because it's already in the glove. And it took him a little bit of time to get it on. But as I said, we are getting ready to go racing again here. It's the final race of the day. Thanks for staying with us. Mission King of the Baggers is coming your way next.
Back at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, under red flag conditions for Mission King of the Baggers. Race number 2, original grid, going to happen here. But yeah, it's been determined that Tyler O'Hara, who is second on the grid, is not going to be allowed to restart this race. So there'll be an empty spot on the front row. Troy Herfoss and Rocco Landers will be on the front row. Then Hayden Gillam, Kyle Wyman, and James Rispoli. So for Kyle Wyman, who's going to be on the middle of row number 2, he should have a nice, clean initial launch. Nobody in front of him. But let's take a look at what happened here at the start.
Yeah, you're going to see here that as they got to the top of the hill, the 2 factory Indians led the way. And, some big changes overnight for the factory Harleys. Got them a little closer as Kyle Wyman was able to sneak up underneath Tyler O'Hara. to see Rispoli kind of shot up out of the seat here. He has one little moment there and then another one a little bit later. But Wyman is able to get past O'Hara and hold him off through the S's on their first real flying lap. This is when the problem started. As they came out of turn 11, Greg, I started seeing a ton of smoke. And sure enough, there's a little leak there. Poor Tyler, he didn't know. I mean, he had no clue. Even when the red flag came out, you could tell he didn't even know it was from him. He's looking on the left side. If he looked on the other side, he would have seen that. But
maybe some hydraulic fluid. Like, it didn't look like oil when we saw it. It could be hydraulic fluid or something there. Either way, any fluid on the racetrack is not a good thing. So we're getting ready to get things underway again as Rocco Landers, after capturing his first victory in Mission King of the Baggers. And Jason, you talk about him being 19 years old and 7 months and a couple of days, and he is so high up on the list of
race wins
all
funny,
time.
I know.
It is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
You know, we talk a lot about our race wins and how many how many riders have it in AMA competition. You know, you look at Josh Hayes, he sits atop at 88. He was able to surpass Miguel Duhamel, who had 86, but Cameron Beaubier now sitting on like 85. But for Rocco Landers, he's got 53, and he is just 3 right now behind Jake Gagne for all time.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And you know, it's for Rocco. I don't know what's more impressive, all the wins or the fact that he's won in 4 different classes. You know, so 4 different classes of winning is pretty impressive. And I hope to see him on a superbike. You know, that's what I'd love to be able to see, is get Rocco on a superbike someday.
Trivia question, Jason Pridmore, and what you win is a handshake.
Oh, thanks.
A handshake with bags. I'm from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
What are those classes? What are the classes he's won in?
Junior Cup, Twins Cup, Super Sport, and Baggers.
Bingo.
Come on, man.
Look at you.
I do pay attention every now and then. You know what I mean?
You've been here for all of them.
I have
We've been here for all 53 of Rocco's victories.
That's pretty cool. A lot of talent.
Yeah, a lot of talent, and Rocco has a full-time job as well. So he's out there. He's got a full-time job, and he's
a hamster.
And he does have a hamster.
Yeah.
And a hamster who's got a shout-out
yesterday
after a big win.
Yeah.
All right, this is difficult times. Let's talk about the mentality of sitting in this heat, even though Rocco's got a fan. You know, helmet on, leather zipped up. It's nearly 100 degrees outside. Underneath the canopy is a help, but not a ton.
It probably feels like more than that, to be honest with you, because, you know, for these guys right now, just sitting in the leathers waiting. I know that they're waiting for probably the 2 or 3 minute warning before they're getting ready to roll out. You can see the mechanics there cooling the bikes off as well. Everybody's got fans on all the bikes. So, yeah, we'll gonna get a full restart here again, Greg. 5-lap, like basically sprint race. That is true definition when it's only 5 laps long, but we know how long this track is as well. Just got to get yourself back in a spot mentally to be prepared. All these guys have so much experience in this class. Everybody that you see in this class, obviously, you know, we've got 10 bikes running now. Bobby Fong didn't make the start. All these guys have so much experience all over the world, you know. You know, James Rispoli's raced other countries, raced in England for a bunch of years. Troy Herfoss, obviously Superbike champion. We've seen Kyle Wyman win Superbike and you know, be on Superbike podiums over here, rather, and so on. So, you know, Tyler O'Hara, very seasoned. All these guys, you know, are very seasoned. Hayden Gillen with championships, so they're ready.
So Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2, under a hold. If you're just joining us from red flag conditions, after we had a race that got rolling, and Tyler O'Hara and his motorcycle started to leak a little bit of fluid. Now, Jay, let's look back at the overall weekend here, as this is our final race of the weekend at Circuit of the Americas. With the changes that were made to the racetrack, the asphalt, and the fans that we had here today, how was your experience this weekend?
It's been warm, but this AC in this room here feels pretty good, I have to say. So it's, you know,
it's roasting in this room right now. For you, yeah.
No, it's good. I mean, COTA, it's nice because COTA's made changes in the fact that they've been trying to get their track better and make it better. And I know they have other really big events here besides just MotoAmerica, with MotoGP coming and F1 being here. I think F1 comes here a little bit later in the year. So that's always a huge spectacle for Austin, Texas. But it's great that we have COTA on our schedule as the riders now go out. But we'll make one comment. We haven't really talked about Hayden Gillen much. And if we remember the finish at Mid-Ohio, Big crash for the defending champion, number 1 Hayden Gillum, and he hasn't been as much of a factor this weekend. And I did notice today he sat out at a couple of our Superbike races, and found out a little bit later that he did hurt his hand, slapped his hand pretty hard on the ground there at Mid-Ohio, and he's the last guy that would ever make any excuses. But if we're kind of wondering why maybe he hasn't been up to his normal self this weekend, I think he's still battling some injuries. He's got a stock 1,000 championship to try to win in a couple weeks' time in New Jersey also. So
I think we have it, Jay, from Mid-Ohio, Hayden Gillum and the crash that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Let's take a look back in time.
I want you to pay attention to his right hand. Pay attention to his right hand as he comes down here and how it slaps the ground. Ooh. And from what I understood, he had a little work done on that right hand because he slapped it pretty hard, Greg. And again, this would be a better angle. Watch the right hand as it goes flying off the bike here, and then he smacks it. Yeah. And so, there's a reason why Hayden hasn't been his normal self this weekend, I think, and it's been kept under the wraps pretty good. And but this guy's got he's had just a tremendous year in all the classes he runs. He's gritty, always works hard, always tries hard. It's been really neat having him back in the championship, and I think that's why we've seen him hurting a little bit this weekend.
Yeah, so he had surgery. They put a pin in it, basically on the outside of his right hand, like where his pinky finger is.
Yeah.
He showed me the scar. Every time I saw him this weekend, instead of having ice on his head, he had ice on that hand.
Ice on his hand, yeah. So it's bugging him. I mean, obviously it's throttle hand, it's braking hand. If it was his left hand, he probably wouldn't even rub some dirt on it and he'd have kept going.
There you go.
But yeah, this. Our defending champion going out, I guess, this year. We'll have a new champion. Yeah, he still had a great year.
And a great year for this team as well. The Revs of the Motul, Vance and Hines, Harley-Davidson team, after coming off this championship, beating the factory teams of Indian and Harley-Davidson alike, and then still able to get, wins this season has been amazing for that entire team. Of course, for Hayden Gillum, who sits 3rd in this championship, I mean, he's able to notch 3, and then Rocco Landers with his single. So 4 wins on the season of an 18-round championship. This will be number 16 of the year of that 18-race schedule. It's pretty good for the privateer team.
It looks like, let's see, there's Max Flinders. And we want to talk about a tough weekend and a tough guy.
Yes.
That's the guy right there. He is one tough guy. Max had a big crash on his bagger. I think he had another one this morning, I believe. I could be talking out of turn here on the Superbike. And he just keeps, he's as resilient as they come. And it's good to see he's on a borrowed bike. And yeah, Greg, you look at on the front row there, we are missing Tyler O'Hara for sure. So Tyler O'Hara will be a scratch from this one. And they're gonna go out here for a warm-up lap. They've done a siding lap. And had there been any real problems, these riders would have come back in and told MotoAmerica crew there was a problem. And so they've done a good job as far as being able to get everybody going.
So they release Max Flinders. He'll get out for this warm-up lap. This is going to be a slow one, Jay, because it is hot. And, it was interesting when I went through and talked to quite a few of the riders this weekend in this category, especially riders that ride other bikes. I said, how hot is it? Because you have these massive V twins that generate a lot of heat on their own. But on top of that, you get no cooling effect because the fairings are so wide.
Right.
And every rider told me that rides another bike, this is the hottest motorcycle that they ride.
Yeah, I'm sure. And, it's a big bike and holds a lot of heat and so on. So I think that, 5 laps is going to be grueling for these guys. And it's just right in the heat of the day as well. I mean, this is when it gets a little bit grueling in the afternoon or late afternoons here. So what are we looking at? 4:30, 4:40 in the afternoon. But I think that we're going to have a better race. Just looking at those splits that we saw coming up on that second lap of the race, I think Kyle Wyman might have something for Troy. So it's going to be fun to see the start again.
All right, when we get back, Circuit of the Americas, we're going to get this race underway. Hang tight.
Warm-up lap continuing for Mission King of the Baggers. We know that Tyler O'Hara, after that podium result yesterday, will not be able to go out there and take his front row grid position after leaking the oil, bringing out that red flag.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for Tyler and also the whole Indian team. They want him to get up there and try to help Troy win this title. So he's going to be one man down, so he's got to rely on a couple other guys if he can win. But Kyle was looking pretty good before that red flag came out, so I think it's going to be a different race today.
You see the 33 of Kyle Wyman and that 17 of Troy Herfoss, the championship contenders. They're on track together, and you said it, Kyle Wyman was a lot racier today than what he was yesterday.
Yeah, and he's going to be aggressive with Troy early on and try to rough him up and not let him get in his rhythm.
It'll be 5 laps, original grid positions. Let's go back over to Greg and Jason.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. And by Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles.
Starting grid for this one, Troy Herfoss, no Tyler O'Hara, red flag caused it. Rocco Landers.
Hayden Gillen, Kyle Wyman, and Rispoli. And then we got Bobby Fong, who I don't think's made it either. Jake Lewis, Travis Wyman, Corey West, and Max Flinders.
5 laps in this race.
Here we go.
So Tyler O'Hara caused a red flag. We got a couple of corners underway, and now we have a 5-lap event here. Mission King of the Baggers. Red lights up. All right, so we're away racing, and look at Kyle Wyman from the center with nobody in front of him. He gets a really good launch. He's heading up to turn number 1. Herfoss is choosing to take the tighter line into turn number 1. He sweeps through it. He's going to drive to the outside. Kyle trying to square it up and get a run down the hill.
Rocco with a better start, too. He's 3rd, Rispoli 4th, Gillum 5th. Those are your top 5 right now. And Herfoss does a good job, but Rocco, much better start for the 97.
So for Kyle Wyman, the big deal for him is continuing this championship on to New Jersey Motorsports Park. A big win here for him would give him another 5-point buffer if Troy Herfoss is able to finish 2nd. But Troy Herfoss has the opportunity to claw back some big points. So Kyle's in a very interesting situation. How hard do you push? Because what you don't want to do is turn 7-point advantage into an 18-point disadvantage.
No question. And I think that for Kyle, you know, he lost quite a bit of points yesterday in turn 10, or this turn that you're looking at.
11.
Right there, Greg, turn 11 rather. Been calling it 10 all weekend, thanks.
You're welcome.
But turn 11, yeah, and you know, that's where we saw Troy struggling just a little bit yesterday. So I'm going to be curious to see how he continues to keep getting through that corner. And you see Kyle Wyman pulls out of the draft just for a second, and you know, this is his chance to see how early Troy tips in to some of these tight left-handers that we have here at COTA. So they're just starting to pull away a little bit from Rocco.
Boy, that Indian Challenger working so good.
Really good.
Turning on the S&S Indian Challenger. And of course, Kyle Wyman on the 33. And then Harley-Davidson Factory Racing Road Glide. This is the battle of American Iron here in Mission King of the Baggers. And the battle of 2 leading this championship up front.
But it's going to give Kyle a little bit of confidence. I don't know what just happened there. He rolled in right behind Tyler. And then I'm not sure, man, all of a sudden there's a big gap. I know Tyler ripped through there. But that was interesting because Kyle was a lot closer going in than he was even halfway through the middle of that turn. So we'll keep an eye on it. But, you know, Herfoss hasn't been able to just kind of dart away and get a second or 2 lead on these guys on his opening lap, even though he has pulled away ever so slightly. And you just knew this guy was going to rebound back from some of the misfortunes that he had in the middle of the year. Troy being the champion that he is in Superbike in Australia, and just being a world-class rider. And he's rebounded very nicely in these last few rounds.
Fans of MotoAmerica can pick their favorite riders for a chance to win money. Available on your favorite sportbook and daily fantasy sites like DraftKings and Underdog Fantasy. Visit nxtbets.com/playma for exclusive sign-up bonuses for new players and receive cash bonuses. Hey, available in legal states. Check out nxtbets.com/playma to see where you can play in your state.
Yeah, so through these S's, I'm paying attention. 37.8 from the top 3. So all of them are right around in the same exact 1/10 of a second there. So we're going to have a look here. Remember yesterday how fast Rocco was through the first split, and Troy was a little bit off there. Today he's matched it. And down here coming into turn 10, let's see if he can get this big Indian Challenger stopped the way he wants to get it stopped.
All right, let's get down to the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa.
for Kyle Wyman. I talked to the team, and he wasn't as comfortable as we've seen him in race weekend past at the start of this weekend. They made some sizable changes that are reminiscent of the setup that he won here earlier this year in April. So that's got him feeling more comfortable. He also went out this morning and tried that R5 front tire instead of the R3 and switched to that for this race. So if he's looking a little bit racier, those are definitely contributing factors.
And the higher the number, the harder the compound. R3 softer than an R5, R7, a lot of choice for the rear as well that Dunlop brings. And so you have a variety of tire choices depending on the track and what Dunlop deems as raceable rubber. But still out front, Herfoss not really getting away from Wyman. It's kind of an accordion effect right now between these two.
Yeah, but here that last time by, Herfoss was able to open up a big gap in the middle of this corner. So kind of not as much this time though. And you can see Hayden Gillum has also got through on James Rispoli up into turn 1 earlier in the lap. But for Kyle, this is going to be a big bonus for him that he's not seeing Herfoss just completely walk away. Now both those guys are going to be on the edge, Greg. So you know it's hot, it's greasy as they come across 214.2, 214.2. So the two guys at the front doing the job that you'd expect the two guys leading the championship to do. And, you know,
fastest lap of the race to Kyle Wyman.
Yeah, but only just, you know?
Yeah, only just. A 214.231 versus a 214.284.
Yeah, you saw Tyler O'Hara sitting in the screen bump. Probably he's not out there participating in this.
Oh, yeah, he'd love to put himself between these two riders and help Herfoss in this championship hunt. So after this race, there's 50 points on offer. So Kyle Wyman just in a very interesting situation. It feels like Herfoss with a 7-point deficit is kind of throwing caution to the wind, just going out there and doing the job he needs to do. And after a mid-season 2-race slump, is back in it.
Yeah, no, he is, and he had a little bit of a refresh. There's the points that ended now, but he had a little bit of a refresh. He went home and got himself fit again because he was battling some little niggling injuries and things like that. And came back to Ohio like really with a whole fresh outlook, it felt like, and after Laguna Seca and so on, and now he's kind of back and he's really ready to put this push into this championship with 2 rounds to go.
Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2 from Circuit of the Americas. With 2.5 laps to go, it's Troy Herfoss, the 3-time Australian Superbike champion on the S&S Indian motorcycles. Indian Challenger leading the way from Kyle Wyman, factory Harley-Davidson, on that road glide. And this is the battle for the championship at the same time.
It just looks simple for Troy though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It just looks like the bike looks so settled and sorted, and like I'm not going to say it's easy, obviously, but it just looks easier maybe for him. Kyle, you can tell, is pushing. They made a step for Kyle today, you know, as Hannah was talking about. They've definitely made a step for Kyle on that Harley. But this bike here just looks very stable and in line, and Troy's riding to a limit and not having to really go over it. So Kyle's doing just a really nice job keeping it in tow here. We've got 2 laps to go. It's only a 0.4 of a second lead. They're both in the 214s, as well as Rocco Landers and Hayden Gillum, both in the 214s as well.
Up the steep hill into turn number 1. One of the defining characteristics of Circuit of the Americas, without question.
Watch how out of here Kyle keeps his bike to the right a little bit more, and you see how he swings it out, and then it allows him to straight line this little area just a little bit better. So he kind of closes up a little bit here. You can see that gap significantly closer. He's able to just turn the Harley a little bit tighter almost, it looks like.
Yeah, he's definitely comfortable at lean angle, and yeah, boy, it looked like if we didn't know the characteristics of the corners of this racetrack, it would almost look like at the exit of that section that Kyle was going to make a run up the inside. But here they go down the hill. They're going to head towards turn number 11, which will take them onto the back straightaway. Kyle's close.
Closer and closer right now for Kyle, and Tyler tips in. Troy tips in pretty early there, and but it doesn't seem like it cost him. So you can see Rocco Landers and Hayden Gillum right now. They're in that battle for third. Rispoli just off the back of them. He went 2:15.3 his last lap, but he's just far back enough from those Vance and Hines bikes that he can't quite get in that draft with them.
And there's not a lot in the draft for Kyle Wyman. Seems like he's got to do it all on corner. He's got a good race line strategy at the first half of this racetrack. And
Look how
Kyle,
tight it is.
so he's able to just turn it so quickly.
Yep. He's able to just get the bike tighter, and he's got, even through here, it's you can see, look where he's exiting. In some of the corners, you can see where he is exiting compared to Troy. So,
and there's no need for Kyle Wyman to show his cards early in this one. There's a couple opportunities that if he was close enough to Troy, as he starts to drift a little wide, Kyle could just throw it up the inside and roll right underneath him. But there he loses a little bit of ground. Does the 33 on the 17.
Just a little bit though. Troy actually ran a little bit wide. His angle on the exit there kind of told me that it wasn't where it needs it to be. This is a white flag. Kyle might be close enough to take a shot. It'll be interesting to see. I bet Troy gets over to the left and doesn't allow it to happen, but he's not over to the left as far as I thought he would have been. But there it is. Now he's getting it in there nice and tight. And this is where Kyle's been really good. Is Troy has a quick little look over his shoulder. They head down this hill.
So this is the final lap of Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2. And Troy Herfoss with an opportunity to close this championship to 2. Kyle Wyman trying to figure out a way to stay close enough to throw a shot at Herfoss.
I was going to ask you where you felt like it could happen, because in the spots that it looks like it's important to be close to Troy, he's not quite able to get there. So
he's going to have to have a really good run through turn 11 as they're getting to, and down the back straightaway for Kyle to put it in a position where I think that roll speed might do it, but he's not close enough right now to take a shot into this corner. And it's Herfoss. He gets the Indians turned so quickly, and now he's got to get it up on the meat of the tire, like almost like ride it like a super bike.
He fires it out of there really nicely, doesn't he? And gets it in there tight, fires it out, and again, he's got just a big enough gap where Kyle can't really do anything with him.
Wyman trying to get into the draft and close up. And again, Herfoss, the bike's so stable off the back straightaway. And you can see the margin now as Herfoss a little bit wide, but no real damage there for the 17.
No, he's opened up the gap. It's really impressive how he's able to get that big Indian in on a tighter line. And get it in there tight and fire it out. And I think really Kyle's only hope was to try to be close enough getting into that last corner, but he's just not quite there.
Herfoss, a little look over his shoulder, no rear view mirrors in racing. So he's trying to look around and see where Wyman is. He'll anticipate if Kyle Wyman is going to be able to take a shot. He's not seeing the view we're seeing right now, as it looks like really good position for the 17. He's got one more corner to go. Wyman's not close enough. Herfoss onto the front straightaway. Mission King of the Baggers, number 2, on the gas to the checkered flag, and the points will close up to 2 after a huge win from Herfoss. Landers able to hold off his teammate Gillum. James Rispoli in 5th place.
Yeah, it looked like maybe Rocco stuffed Gillum in that last corner, so we'll have to go back and have a look at it. So last lap, 2:14.3, 2:14.6 for the winners, or for the leaders there. What a ride by Troy Herfoss, and a ride that was kind of expected. I don't think that he expected it to maybe be as close as it was. So it goes to show these guys, you know, Kyle went to work last night with his team to try to make his bike a little bit better, but Herfoss has done such a great job this weekend at closing that gap. We're gonna have a shootout in New Jersey.
We certainly are. This is exciting, and I'm sure Herfoss is excited as well. We'll talk to him on the other side of this break.
Cannot wait to watch this championship battle come down to the final 2 races at New Jersey Motorsports Park. But before we get there, need to wrap up the celebrations here at Circuit of the Americas. And the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Michael Hill, he's been with us all weekend long, off and on throughout the season with other commitments down across the pond over in Europe. And for Michael Hill, thank you for everything that you've done with us this season. You won't be able to join us at New Jersey, but it's always a pleasure having you and your insights with us each weekend.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jamie. And I want to say, obviously, publicly as well, it's been an absolute pleasure to be part of the 10th anniversary season of MotoAmerica. It's an absolute privilege for me. I know when Wayne asked me to be part of the series 5 or so years ago, I jumped at the opportunity, and I really do feel like I'm part of the family here. And it's such a great series. It's growing all of the time. And same feeling for me down here, Jamie, working with you and Roger, true professionals. I love working with you guys. And yes, I won't be in the final round, but I'll be watching you guys doing your stuff. And I'm already counting down to next season. Hopefully we'll go bigger and better, and we'll reunite the three amigos.
Yes, look forward to that. Absolutely. Thank you for everything. Again, as you see Troy Herfoss on the cool-down lap, Roger going over to the podium to be able to celebrate the victory here today. It's going to be tight when we get to New Jersey.
Going to be tight, and so impressive what Kyle did today. It's awesome watching guys like him, big-time guys, championship guys, when they step up when they need to. He's 8/10 quicker than he was in yesterday's race. During crunch time, the good guys always found their ways toward the top.
For Kyle Wyman, he is going back to New Jersey Motorsports Park, where he won the last race of the 2023 season. He's already tasted victory there once. We'll see what he can do this year. We're going to send it back to Greg and Jason.
Mission King of the Baggers coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. And by Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson, Indian, and custom V-twin motorcycles.
Troy Herfoss still on the cool-down lap. And it's a cool-down lap, no question, with it being right around 100 degrees here in Austin, Texas. And Herfoss thanking the fans for sticking around on this one and our final race of the weekend. And the margin of victory is 0.445 of a second. So for Herfoss, he will take victory and a max 25 points over Kyle Wyman, who earns 20 points. So that's 5 the difference. It was 7. Rocco Landers in 3rd, Hayden Gillum in 4th, James Rispoli. Well, he's able to salvage what looked like was going to be disaster in the first start. He's in 5th place. Travis Wyman, Corey West, Jake Lewis, Max Flinders, and Tyler O'Hara, who DNS'd. All right, so here's a look at those championship standings as we sail off to New Jersey Motorsports Park in less than 2 weeks' time. It's 2 points, Jason Pridmore, between Kyle Wyman and Troy Herfoss. Wow. And there's only 50 points, so only those two are wrapped up in this championship as we head over. That is going to be exciting.
Going to be a good weekend in Jersey. I think we have 3 championships that are going to be decided in New Jersey.
Dude,
so
Kyle is
going to be great.
Kyle is good at New Jersey. You talked about him, podium in Superbike class. Yeah. Jersey was his first. He knows the track. He likes the track. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see these two riders go head-to-head. And, heck, it's deep in September by the time we get there, Jay. Anything could happen in terms of the weather. Could be warm, could be chilly.
Has it ever rained in Jersey?
Yeah.
Has it ever?
Isn't New Jersey Slavic for rain? I'm pretty sure it is. Not sure.
I like seeing that.
Someone fact-check me on that.
Kyle comes right over, congratulates Troy. These guys have had a pretty intense battle this year.
Let's get right down to Hannah.
Troy Herfoss taking the victory today, just getting the earplugs out, so hopefully he can hear me for this question. All right, Troy, how important was it for you to be perfect on that last lap, knowing your championship rival was right on your tail?
Look, this is going to come out the wrong way, but we were completely in control today, which I'm really thankful for. I need points, and I just wanted to see what he's all about, and tried to rope him into something maybe he didn't want to do there, and he got to the back of me, and I thought he might try something, but it's going to go down to the wire. 2 points now, so really happy. 12 points is more than we expected to get out of it, judging on how the year always goes. But hey, the Indian Challenger. What are we? 6th for the year, I think. So I'm so excited, and I love Championship Day. I love game day. So I just can't wait to go to New Jersey, and big thanks to Indian, Mission Foods. I keep forgetting to say thank you for Mission, and I should be the most thankful this year. So a special shout out to Mission, S&S Cycle Progressive, drag specialties, parts unlimited. I'm going to get a fine, but that's why he's standing behind me. I'm so sorry. I'm not a robot, and yeah, I'll get better at it. Thank you.
Big weekend for Troy Herfoss in the championship points race, guys.
Oh, yeah, and this one is going to go down to the wire. That's what we expect. But let's get right back down to Hanover as Kyle.
Second place today for Kyle Wyman. And Kyle, all eyes were on you on that final lap, looking to see if you could get close enough. Or take us through your thought process. Were you looking to make a move? How much risk were you willing to take?
Well, yeah, I mean, throughout that whole race, I was slowly convincing myself that I had the bike to win. And it's been a tough weekend up to this point. And yeah, I couldn't really have a bite at him. I mean, he was too strong in the areas he needed to be strong in. I think I had pace on him in a couple spots on the track, but really just not anywhere that you could actually make a pass. So, hey, I'm really happy with this ride today because it's been a really slow build this weekend. Been kind of struggling with some stuff, but we learned a lot about our package, and we still got a points lead, and we're going to New Jersey, so got a lot of good memories from there. Let's try to make some more.
Second place today for Mission King of the Baggers, Kyle Wyman, guys.
He certainly does. And like I said, there's some unknowns at New Jersey as we head off there in a couple weeks with new asphalt. It's going to be interesting. Let's get on to Rocco Landers.
A win and a third for Rocco Landers this weekend. Rocco, how was your race?
Not bad. I got to give a huge shout out to Hayden. I mean, he's a beast. He's riding with a hurt hand. It's insane. These bikes are so hard to ride, and it's so hot out here, especially having done another race. But I mean, my whole team's worked together so hard. My whole Matt, my mechanic for the twin, Quentin, my bagger mechanic, Steve, our crew chief, Craig, Terry, Roy, my mom, my brother, my aunt and uncle and cousins are here, and my friend Aaron and his girl. Thank you guys, everyone.
Congrats, Rocco. No shout out for the hamster today, guys.
Oh, but the poor hamster. Maybe only when he wins. But this guy did a big win for Troy Herfoss, and he closes the gap down to 2 points. And we are looking forward to what's going to happen in 2 weeks' time from New Jersey Motorsports Park. You're going to make sure that you hang out with us for that. Or why don't you get out there and watch this unfold right in front of your eyes. For Hannah and Jason, I'm Greg. For all our crew, we will see you in New Jersey for Mission King of the Baggers.